So in the last couple of days, we were going to have this discussion about this change to residential building law slash code in New York State in 2026, where all new residential buildings were going to be unable to use basically fossil fuel sources for their heat, which is a massive change. Lots of homes are built with propane. Lots of homes are built with oil furnaces, and even I'm not sure if this affects wood appliances or pellet stoves as much, but either way, the big ones, the gas boilers, the propane boilers, and the forced air furnaces that are oil based, all those three kind of fossil fuel sources would no longer be able to be implemented in a code approved residential construction in 2026. So it's part of this all electrification momentum that the state of New York is on the bandwagon for. And anyway, so this was going to happen until just the other day when the state decided to pause this because there is some ongoing litigation brought on by the industry, right? The industries that would be affected. So this is the home builders groups of New York, as well as I don't have it all in front of me, but basically the fossil fuel interests are saying, look, this is actually the state of New York overstepping its bounds. It is contrary to some federal guidelines. And so they're, it's all legal, right? And I'm not going to get into the minutia of that right now, but it's essentially this lawsuit is saying, hey, let's let the judges square this away because what the state wants to do starting in 2026 doesn't quite jive with what the federal government wants us to do. Therefore, it's one of these, federal versus state deals. Bottom line is it's enough to tie it up for now.
What was the change? What is the inevitable change happening?
Yes. So the change is planned to be, again, it's now pushed off, but either way, it's coming down the pipeline, whether it's 2026 or soon. But the idea is all residential construction buildings, less than 7 floors, by the way. So if you're building a high rise or something like that, or a large multi-unit building, you still, in theory, could use these fossil fuels until 2029 was the time frame. So anything under 7 stories that is going to be built, meaning if you were like halfway through construction right now, but you weren't done yet and you wanted to get your C of O and you're not done until January and you've got an oil furnace ready to be installed, you better change your plans because in theory you couldn't get approved for a certificate of occupancy because it would no longer be in coherence, in accordance with regulations at the state level. So what this has done, I mean, a lot of people are trying to bury their heads a little bit. A lot of people are up in arms. Now, just so you and I are clear, Jess, I believe in science. I do believe that working incrementally towards getting away from fossil fuels is the better thing in the long run for us, for the future, for whatever. But that being said, I don't think we're ready to go all electric right now. The business models of these companies, the lifestyles of the people living in the homes, they're not ready for, even if it's done right, it's still not, we're not ready to implement something like this on this scale as a mandate, right? I believe that if people want to do this right now on their own, perfect, fine, build an all electric house, great. I've taken that and done that to my own house. I believe in it. But that doesn't mean we should force it on everyone until our systems are verified to be capable to handle those loads, verified to be capable to be, agile enough to handle the various things. Now, some people, I'm going on a riff here, but some people are interpreting this as like, are they going to make me rip out my oil furnace next week or whatever? This is not happening. It's not to any existing home. You're still allowed to buy a new furnace. You're still allowed to buy a new boiler. But again, I think at some point that will go away. So we're seeing a horizon where all electric is the future, but New York is probably a little bit too proactive in that urge right now. And there are all these, I'm not looking at all the websites and the documents, but there's a name for the directive that New York is doing this under. It's a clean air act or what, something along those lines. But anyway, the bottom line is the public furor is the grid isn't ready. That's the big the big push is like the grid isn't ready for everyone to use all of their heating demand from electricity. And that's a fairly legitimate concern. My only pushback on that is the building code that is in place now is for extremely energy efficient, extremely well insulated, extremely airtight new construction. So if you're thinking about your 1880 farmhouse or even your 1980 split level home, that thing is not built nearly as well to handle the elements and the changes from interior to exterior temperatures and conditions than a new house would now. Our new houses right now they almost leak zero air. So air movement and temperature differentials, those are the things that impact your heating and your cooling costs. Because if you can keep your inside comfortable with very little energy, then it's not actually a huge drag on the grid. But people think, oh, I know how much my house costs to heat. I know I've got these leaky windows and all this stuff. And their immediate knee-jerk reaction is there's no way this can work. And I kind of agree if we were asking you to do that to your own house right now. But this is just for new houses. New houses have to be up to code, and code says you need exterior insulation, you need air barrier all the way, you need all these like sealed envelope essentially around your house, which most of us don't have. We might think we do, but a lot of us, if you peel back the layers, there's all kinds of leakage happening. I find this fascinating, but I do think it's a thing that is going to become more and more prescient in our lives. It's going to be an ongoing battle. And I'm glad that it's getting pushed back for now. And I'm actually kind of glad that the industries are saying, no, New York, hold on. You can't just do this. You're going to bury our industry. Think about all the local HVAC companies, all the oil suppliers, all the propane companies, all the guys that have small HVAC companies. And now they go from fixing a boiler one week to like, oh, all I do now is mini splits. That's all I do. Or I have to fix a geothermal pump. Like it's a drastic, rapid change. And I don't think in the right intent, I think New York is just trying to push this agenda a little too quickly. That's my take. What's your take? Because I know you don't focus on this as much. This is probably all relatively new to you, but you're good at being kind of like on your feet. And what are your thoughts?
Being loquacious.
Yeah, we just had that discussion. I think I've just proven that I can do that.
I was going to say how loquacious of you. Thank you for all that information. Well, for me, I think I'm one of those people that obviously, yes, doesn't do this research, knows less about it. And then when I heard it too, my first thought is, do you know how leaky my house is? Like, there's no way that I would ever, I have propane and I have, your regular, well, I'm burning oil too for, my furnace. So I'm not messing with that. Like, I mean, I kind of wish I had natural gas. I know they've already kind of nixed that. But that was something that downstate in New York City, we had central air, it ran on natural gas. And that was awesome. That was probably the most efficient I've ever seen. So to me, I understand the environmental long-term effects of fossil fuels and natural gas and things like that. And I also want to be able to move to something green that's, earth-friendly, for sure. I am that person. And I also think that this is really fast. It's definitely just snapping quick in the other direction and not giving people time to process and to actually do it properly and make sure, ultimately, like you said, is the grid ready for that? Because we don't know, and it's an older system too. It's one that we've had, so can it be upgraded? Like, what needs to happen actually to be able to support that much more energy going through it? So those are just my layman's thoughts, and quick.
Yep,
and
I love that.
And I like that you said it's not going to be asking us to rip out our current stuff and replace it just as homeowners, because that's the homeowner instantly just wants to know, how does this affect me? It doesn't. If you're not building a new house at this time, you're okay. Your old house can be as leaky as it wants with its oil and fossil fuels. It can continue to do that for the time being. But having it on your radar is good, which is why we wanted to record this and get it out to people. Just knowing that in a few years, perhaps this is something that they're going to have to think about, then people can start to take the steps to, like you said, kind of get their houses up to par, the nice sealed envelope of efficiency. I just wouldn't know where to start, like with my leaky old farmhouse. Like I got windows in. I went to Windows World and Windows World in Binghamton,
Window
and
World
I
in
paid.
Binghamton.
Yeah, because like the other guy was like, it'll be $72,000 for new windows for your house. I was like, that's so cute. Binghamton was like, Window World was like, 15 grand will do everything. I'm like, awesome. That is so much better. So most people are not opting for the most efficient thing because they have to do the most affordable thing. And it's just always going to be, how affordable is this? And if it's not necessary, it's not happening because they have bills and groceries and other things they need to do.
Yeah, such good points. This impacts things on so many levels. Yeah, you like positive feedback.
I do.
No, but this impacts things on so many levels. So there is the whole like grid question. Is our supply adequate? And I think the truth is, again, if done right, a new building doesn't actually add that much more than a bad old building. So I think that is sort of a false argument. But again, if you're building thousands and thousands of new houses, now this is the thing that you and I experience in our local area. We are not in a high new construction zone. So that's why maybe we're insulated from this hysteria a little bit, because we don't have subdevelopments going up every single day. We don't have a builder, quote unquote, building 10 houses on a new block. We don't have that. We have individual people with money building a custom home with a local builder. That's pretty much what we have. Or they're getting a manufactured home from some company and putting it on a piece of land. Those are essentially the two ways we build homes in our region. There are very few, I'm going to buy 100 acres, make it into 20 lots, and I'm going to build houses. This is extremely rare. But there are parts of the state where this is very common. And so you could imagine a builder in Rochester, Syracuse, Buffalo, Albany, any of those larger metro areas who have a plan. And now it's suddenly like, oh, my 30 house development these things take time to build out. My 5-year plan is now really crushed because my houses are going to have to be engineered a little differently, et cetera, et cetera. The other thing, I'm not a loophole guy, but check this out. So as soon as this came out, I'm like, okay, can you not just build an all electric house, and then 2 days after you get your C of O, like call an HVAC company and be like, can I throw in a propane, furnace now? Because they're still sold on the market, right? So it doesn't mean you can't have it. It just means you can't build technically a new house with it. But as soon as it's a house, you own it. Like you can do whatever the heck you want in your own house. So
I mean, there's so many people that appreciate that right now, because a lot of times that's what building is about, right? Like making sure you get it done the way you need to get it done and however way you need to get it done. Yeah. I think, the initiative, sort of like what we talk about a lot, because that's a dream of ours, right? Development, to be able to build affordable housing that's also efficient housing. I think the whole thing is part of a positive conversation of moving people towards affordable, green, sustainable homes. Like that's what we want to do. We want to get people there. When it becomes a mandate or it becomes something like this, it feels mean, but it's not that it's not ill-intended. And I think it's something that people should be doing anyway. If they're thinking about building or thinking about buying something, like they should always be thinking about the efficiency of the property, especially in a place like upstate New York, where it gets very cold, and it gets very cold, colder much further north of here, but it gets cold enough here that it's 55 degrees in the room I'm sitting in, like when it gets cold, because we don't have heat. Yeah, it gets down to brisk. 55 degrees in the bedroom.
Wait, you do not have heat in your...
We do not
this is a quirks of some upstate old farmhouses. So people are like, what? A lot of our houses might have had a stove, a wood stove or something, or even a furnace, but they might have only ducted it to the first floor of a home, and then the upstairs spaces were just getting essentially pass-through heat from the downstairs. And essentially because the houses were so leaky that you literally had a vacuum effect through your uninsulated attic space So there's just the warm air is being sucked out the top of your house, and there's literally a convection flow of the heat that you're burning oil or propane to heat in your basement, your cold, drafty basement. It's then filtering up through the house. It's decently warm in your living space, and then it escapes out the top of your house, and you're like, oh, that's a lot of oil money. I'm just literally throwing
Not
out
only
my,
that,
out
but
my roof.
we have a hot side and a cold side. So the side that the wood burning stove on the opposite side where my husband's office is, where my mom's room is, because she's older, she needs to have heat. Those rooms stay cozy, whether or not we even have the stove burning. Like it's just the warm side of the house. It's where all the mechanicals and everything is, and that's sort of. And then I'm on the cold side in a pretty significantly large room that just doesn't. It just won't even. You can't heat this room. You would need multiple zones. It was 3 rooms that are now combined into one, but the point is that an older farmhouse like this, for sure, is going to be difficult to figure out heat. And we've talked about a pellet stove.
Yep.
Okay, so you have to punch a hole in the wall now to have the exhaust going out, and then you have an open flame in your bedroom. So we have not had a conversation except for the mini split conversation. Again, the guy wants $30,000 to do the whole house. Great.
Yep.
I love that. And it was not recommended to just do a zone. And I'm like, well, we can do the cold side of the house. No, it's probably better if you do it all. I get that it's better for everyone to do it all, but I have an immediate need on this side of the house, and there's also the affordability factor. I can't just write a check for 30 grand. I can, however, spend $8,000 and get one of the cassettes and I can do that. Yep. But
this is a super good. That's such a good topic because I think a lot of people, or at least our, those mini split system. I don't want this to become, by the way, the heat pump mini split podcast. However, this is a space that I love.
But that's
I geek
where
out
we're
on this
going.
stuff like crazy. No, I don't. But obviously, they're becoming more and more common, right? So 5 years ago, you'd see one of those, and you're like, what is that thing? Like in a restaurant or a waiting room somewhere, you're like, what is that thing on the wall? I don't even know what that is. And now they're becoming more and more ubiquitous.
Yeah, now we know what they are.
But there is still a perceptive misunderstanding about what these units do. I mean, and I don't want to get into the science of it, but they are actually incredible devices. They're using the same principle as your refrigerator, basically. Does anyone think about... Now, everyone knows their refrigerator costs money to run, right? Mm-hmm. But here's how I would use it for, like, the most basic thing. Does anyone think of my refrigerator as one of my big energy sucks in my house? Like, probably not. At least I don't.
I have no
one
idea.
does. If you were to actually itemize your electric usage in your... we're talking about a normal house with normal heating sources. No one's like, that electric fridge is the thing that's killing me.
It's
no one
killing
is.
me.
Because it's actually a really efficient device because of this complicated refrigeration cycle. We've found these liquids that are amazing at transferring heat energy, essentially. And so what you're doing, and I don't want to go too far down this rabbit hole, but essentially they're more efficient than anything else right now, apart from... Well, a geothermal heat pump is slightly more efficient because you're using the heat already in the earth rather than trying to pull heat from the air. But either way, even one of these new devices that's well engineered can take the heat that's in like negative Fahrenheit air. Sounds cold, right? It is cold, but there's still actually heat in that volume of air. So what this refrigerant is able to do is able to basically suck more of the heat out of that thing. The unit that's outside actually kicks out colder air. So let's say it's minus 10 outside. It'll suck whatever little bit of heat it can get from that minus 10 air, and it'll kick out minus 15 air, right? And then it's taking that little bit of warmth it's extracting, and it's pushing it through the refrigerant into the home, into that little cassette unit, and it's being blasted out as warm air into the house. It's difficult as it gets colder, but these devices are getting better every day. They're finding better refrigerants. They're making them more efficient. It's like any technology. If you get critical mass of research and consumer dollars that are going into a product, guess what? That product is going to get a lot better really quickly. And so part of these mandates are, hey, the more we use these air source heat pumps, the better they're going to get. But people still, like on a base level, people still have this schema that's going to struggle when it's upstate New York winter. And it is going to struggle a little bit, but it's still more efficient than your basic electric baseboard heater. Because if you want
Right.
to talk about like real quick lesson on efficiency, sort of like hierarchy, these heat pumps are 3 to 4 times more efficient than standard electric resistance. Electric resistance, by the way, is 100% efficient, meaning every like electron passing through is being made into heat, which sounds awesome, but you still have to pay for those electrons. The heat pump, because of that refrigerant, is 4 times more efficient than that. It's like magic, right? And then you go into like, okay, what's below electric? Well, natural gas is actually super efficient because we can make those systems like 94, 96% efficient, meaning, again, for every, like, now we're looking at a volume of a gas or a fluid, but either way, you're extracting 96% of the basically the heat value, the BTUs of that thing. Did I go to your? I'm losing you. Anyway, it goes heat pump.
You lost me so long ago.
Resistance,
It doesn't matter.
then like natural gas, then propane, and then oil, and then wood, like way down there. So like the efficiency scales go down in terms of getting the most heat out of the thing, right? So again, that's
We're just
why-
hearing mini splits are good. I mean, mini splits
Yeah.
are the best option for
can
people.
be.
I think they can be. I mean, again, plugging the leaks, right? Just
Yeah.
making the house more efficient so it can hold the heat that it's generating is going to help any system you have. Is going to help
100%.
everything. So it's the first thing
And-
that people should do.
You're 100% correct, and that's such a good thing to say because that's where the heat pump will struggle because they're actually not making as much BTU, but they're able to do it what they can do really efficiently, but they need a pretty sealed environment to do it. Whereas you could have a wood stove in a leaky house and you just keep chucking logs in, whatever, that thing is just blasting energy. It's just incinerating carbon-based life into the world. Like, this thing is a monster. So it can be super wasteful because you just throw another log in that MFer and it'll just go, right?
Yeah.
And the bottom line is that can be a leaky house and you're still going to fill it with so much heat that it doesn't matter. Whereas a heat pump will not keep up with a leaky window because I tried it in my house and it doesn't work. You've got to really seal that thing up. The future is, they're going back to where we started, the future is we'll get to a point where, sorry, but the scientists are right. The environmentalists are right. At some point, when push comes to shove, the fossil fuel burning part of our economy is in a losing battle. The science backs up the fact that we're doing bad things to the environment, and we've got to figure out a way to live. If humans have any interest in remaining human for into the future, then we've got to
Or
find
remaining
a way.
on this planet. Right?
Exactly. Exactly.
I mean,
Then
it's weird to
we've gotta
say,
do it
but I
better.
feel like sometimes they don't know that they live here. I mean, we can get into just something else, but no, we won't. But I have one word for you. Deforestation. I can't think of anything more detrimental to the planet and like oxygen and like life on Earth. Like, why does anyone think that is a good idea to destroy the ecological systems that give us life? I just can't. So sometimes I feel like, you know what? These people don't live on this planet. We don't know about that. They get in a spaceship and they live somewhere else. That's how irresponsible they are with our natural resources. And I'm a little bit of a tree hugger, but I'm also a capitalist. So I'm like in this middle thing where, yeah, I think we should be making progress and taking care of the planet. I understand there's still business, there's still money to be, there's still like this whole other side of it. We definitely have to find a middle ground where we're not consuming as much, but we're still able to do the things that we want to do in modern day, in modern life.
Yep.
So,
Yeah.
I can't. That's my soapbox.
Yeah, no, I like that. I mean, and that's why you and I disagree on a ton of stuff, but we also are, I think we're both capable of being pretty open-minded to things and considering, like, if you provide me with new information, I'm like, thank you, let me digest this and incorporate this into my worldview, and now my worldview might change a little bit. And I think that's a pretty positive way to live in general, rather than just like, this is the echo chamber I've decided to go into, and
No,
now
you can't.
all I'm going to hear are those same echoes. It's very
That's right.
difficult to take on new information if that's your base modality in life.
I mean, the climate right now of any information is just wacky.
Well, can you trust anything, right?
You can't. Yeah. Number one, is it reputable source that you can actually? Yeah, and everybody will tell you that everything is not. depending on where they are in their life, no matter what you say as, well, I heard this here. Oh, well, that's not real. I was like, then what? Is nothing real? Because just tell me. If nothing is real, just tell me that so that I can, I can continue my life just with that knowing. Okay, trust nothing, trust nobody. Just do you. All I care about, lead with love, be nice to people, don't be a schmuck, take care of people that need care, and keep your head down and don't get into anything else. If that's what I need to know, good enough.
I think that's all we need to know. What a is that our outro? That was amazing.